There are two books that quite literally changed my life after divorce. Can't Hurt Me and Never Finish by David Goggins. I didn't just read these books, I lived them. It was 2018 when I first discovered Can't Hurt Me. I was living in Las Vegas. I had been divorced for about a year, and I thought I was doing pretty well. I'd lost some weight, my confidence with dating and with women was improving, my social circle had never been better. But I also realized that I was not nearly as motivated as I had been when I first got divorced. I was not taking the right actions. I was not very disciplined. And after reading this book, I just realized how much I was leaving on the table, how much more I was capable of. And it didn't get me to just think more positively. It got me to start taking action and really envision a better future for myself. For those of you who are not familiar, my name is Johnny Kenhammer. I started this channel a few months ago to help men rebuild themselves after divorce through self-mastery, dating confidence, personal transformation. And it's really for those that want to stop blaming the past and want to start building a high-value future. If you're not familiar with David Goggins, here's just a quick breakdown.
Sometimes your girlfriend or boyfriend breaks up with you. Guess what? Get the fuck over it. They no longer want you. Maybe you failed a test in school. You worked your ass off. Guess what? You failed the fucking test. Get over it. Move past it. At work, you've been working your ass off for that new promotion. You don't fucking get it. Someone else does. Guess what? Get over it. Life will hijack your mind if you let it. You must own your mind. Don't let life own yours. Get after it. Stay hard.
He grew up as an abused child, had a learning disability, was never really supposed to amount to anything. He ended up having to lose 100 pounds in 3 months to be accepted into the Navy SEALs program. It didn't guarantee him success. Everyone told him that it was impossible, but he did manage to do that. And then while he's in training, some crazy stuff happens. His story is epic, but basically he has to do it 3 times. He ends up having to run on broken legs. And just the stuff that he's had to go through to finish his training, and then the stuff that happens on after that is it just really goes to show you what mental toughness can do, what more you're capable of. And yeah, his story is just amazing. I highly recommend those 2 books. The first takeaway I got from that was what he calls the calloused mind. And this is similar to weightlifting, where at first you're lifting weights, you're not used to the metal, you're not used to the weight, and as you keep going, you start to build calluses on your hands. Your body's getting used to doing this repetition, getting used to, you're just starting to callus and your body's adapting to it. And this is the same with the calloused mind. The more that you do things that you do not want to do, the more your life improves, the easier it's going to become to keep doing that stuff. So when I was reading this in Las Vegas, I started to go running with a weighted vest and sweatshirt in the desert heat because I knew it's something that I didn't want to do. I felt like it was going to push me to push my boundaries a little bit, just strengthen my mind, my body, and it worked. I felt great doing it. It was very tough. It made me feel stronger though. It made me feel like I was accomplishing something. And then in Mexico, I started doing this with cold plunges because your body is telling you that this is gonna suck, I don't wanna do it. But as you just push yourself to jump in that water, to sit in there for 3 minutes, the entire time your mind is just telling you to escape, that you do not wanna do this. And then when you're done with it, you feel great, you're like, okay, that wasn't so bad, and then you can do it again. This came about in my dating life as well. When I was in Vegas, I had been building my confidence with women, but at a point, I was starting to get comfortable. I started talking myself out of going out to the clubs to go meet new women. It was easier to just sit and talk to my friends than to actually go and do what you would say is an approach, where you just go up and talk to a girl and see what happens. My mind would always tell me that, what if she's angry? What if she rejects you? There's always these things in your mind that'll tell you to stop doing things. And after listening to the book, I started to put myself out there some more. And then I started to have a better dating life. And then I started to build my social skills. So reading his book, Can't Hurt Me, really just pushed into my mind that you have to embrace the suck. Life is not easy. There's always going to be things that you don't want to do. And when you start pushing yourself into that, you just see what more you're capable of. You see that there's more limits that you can push. You can keep pushing your comfort zone. This got me to start traveling to different countries because I realized that I had not been living the life that I wanted. I was always kind of probably a little afraid of going to a new country by myself. And so it pushed me to just do this stuff. And then you realize that you can handle it. Your body, your mind is capable of a lot of things. So that's really where a lot of this personal development started with me, was the callous mind, pushing myself to doing things that I don't want to do. I've been doing that a lot this week. I started running every day again in the mornings. I do 4 miles every morning. I'm telling myself I don't want to do it, but I committed to doing it, so I'm going to do it. And I'm just going to embrace that suck, and we'll see what the results are. The second takeaway from the book, which really opened my eyes, was what he calls the 40% rule. And this is equivalent to a governor in a car, if you're aware of what that is. So if your car has a governor, that means you can only go to a certain speed. So if your car is capable of 140 miles per hour, but you have a governor that stops you at 90, then you can only go 90 miles per hour. And he says that's what we have with our own minds, that the average person probably has a governor set to about 40% of their true potential. And when I read this, I thought that 100% describes me. I know I'd been doing well, like losing some weight in Vegas. My social skills were improving. My social circle was improving. But I was not pushing the limits. I was maxing out at 40%. This had been a scenario my entire life. With school, I would give just enough effort to pass, never more, probably around 40%. At my job, definitely probably 40%. Like, I never tried to push myself into growing, to being better. And so once I heard this new rule, this 40% rule, and he talks about how you don't need to get to 100% right away. If you're at 40% now, you just want to start improving yourself to 45%, to 50%, to 60%. So this is when I started doing the weighted runs and approaching more and going out more and talking to people at the grocery store at the checkout line. Like, just these small little steps to push me from 40% to maybe 42% to 43%. And yeah, I really started to notice my mindset improving. I started to feel much better about myself because I was committing to waking up early. I was committed to reaching the goals that I set. Prior to reading this book, I was doing some things that were well, but I was not giving my full potential. I did have goals, but I was not focused on them. I just set them and kind of forget them. Was more just taking it easy, I guess, and not pushing myself as hard as I could. And that 40% rule really woke me up to the fact that there was a lot more that I was capable of. His book just goes into how mentally tough he had to be to get over these circumstances. And then you just put yourself in those shoes, and you're like, yeah, I wonder what more I'm capable of. I wonder what I could push myself to if I really tried. So that's the second takeaway, is the 40% rule. The third major takeaway I got from that book was he does not have a victim mentality. I grew up always thinking that I was a shy kid. If only people knew how great I was. It's their fault I'm so quiet. If they just knew. And I had to listen to this in my marriage a lot with the victim mentality. And once I heard David Goggins start talking about this, he doesn't blame anybody. He was abused as a child. He had a learning disability. He was racist terms thrown at him, but he didn't play a victim. He focused on himself, focused on what he was capable of. He does not listen to his feelings. A lot of times his feelings would tell him, just take the day off. Don't go for a run. And he'll sit there and stare at his shoes for 30 minutes, and then he'll go and do the shit because, one, he said he was going to do it, two, because of the callous mind, and because he wants to be better. He's not playing the victim saying, it's so hard today, my legs hurt. He just goes out and does it. Personal accountability. I just love his mindsets. This after a while, in Vegas, I was on my grind for a while. Then COVID happened, and I started taking it easy again. I started watching a little bit more TV. I started not working out as hard. You couldn't really go out and socialize, so my social skills started to not really improve. And then I moved down to Mexico, and I was doing pretty well again. Like, in the back of my mind, I would still listen to Goggins every once in a while and get motivated. I was still working out. I was going to the gym. I was doing some cold approach in Mexico. I was improving my dating life, and I felt good. But then I read his next book, Never Finished, and I just realized again just how much I was leaving on the table. This guy in Never Finished, he's running a race. I think he tears his ACL. He's got to go to a hospital, and then he still gets out and runs like 250 miles. No excuses, just does what he has to do. His brain is constantly telling him to quit, but he just ignores it. He knows that he's capable of it. He will get it done. And when I read this in Mexico, I realized that, yes, I was working out. Yes, I was having success socially, but I was still eating garbage. I was not losing weight. I was not working out as hard as I could. I'd go to the gym 3 times a week, and that's it. So once I read his new book, Never Finished, it really opened my eyes again into how much more I was capable of. Why am I not putting in more effort? Why am I not becoming better? So then again, I started waking up at 6 a.m., going to the track every day, running 4 miles a day, and then going to the gym 3 days a week still. And I started to lose a ton of weight. I started to feel really good, and I felt proud of myself. I did what they call the 4x4x48, where you run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. So it's 48 miles in total. And it's something that I never thought was possible. I never would have guessed that I could run 48 hours, and I could run 48 miles in 48 hours. That was never something that ever crossed my mind, but it was just taking these gradual steps, just not listening to my brain telling me it's not possible. I just ignored that shit, listened to David Goggins, listened to his story, and realized that I was capable of so much more. So I started running every day. I started not drinking. I stopped. I started focusing on work a little bit more. Like, just all these steps, and I started to really feel good about myself. And then, you get comfortable a little bit. I went back to the States. I moved up to Wisconsin and Minneapolis, and it wasn't my ideal situation, so I kind of let myself go. But then I started listening to him again. Like, there's this flow. You go up and down a little bit. You just want to be aware of where you are in life. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be. I wish I didn't backtrack like I did. But after listening to Goggins, it just is always in the back of your mind that you could do more. So now I'm back on my running every day. I'm back to eating healthy. I'm back to watching YouTube videos that are going to improve the channel. Like, I can't recommend these books enough, because you'll just see, once you read them, that there's really no excuse, that you are capable of so much more. I know if you're going through a divorce or a breakup, shit sucks. Watch my video, what David Goggins says about divorce. I'll link that at the end of this video. But yeah, if you read his books, I would listen to both of them, you will just see that you are capable of so much more than you ever thought. It'll open your eyes into ways that you can start to improve, start taking steps to just be better and not really listen to your brain. Your brain's always going to tell you that, it's too hard, just take the easy way out. My brain was trying to tell me this weekend when I wanted to go see the new John Wick movie, which would have been good, but the only reason I wanted to go to that movie was so I could cheat on my diet, so I could get some snacks. So, embracing the callous, like, it would have been easy for me to just go watch the movie, eat the snacks. No one would know. I'm not going to tell anybody. But I knew that that'd be taking the easy way out, and I would not feel good about myself after doing it, especially when I want to try to hold myself accountable to my goals. So if you've never read these books, I highly recommend it. If you had read them, read it again. I listen to these books like 3 times a year, just like 10 minutes a day. Like, it just really, really changed my life. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. Let me know in the comments if you've read this book, what your thoughts are on David Goggins. I know he gets some backlash sometimes. I don't really know why. His whole thing is just improving, and he doesn't really give a fuck what you say about him. He's just on his grind. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on him. Definitely check him out. Like I said, the video, his thoughts on divorce, really is, I think everybody needs to hear that. So watch that video, and I'm off to the gym now. Gonna get my workout in for the week. I got to do 4 times this week. I'm gonna do running every day again this week. I'm gonna watch my diet again this week, trying to just grind as much as possible. I started a mastermind yesterday with my friend, and he called me this morning. He's on his grind, and it feels good to see that feedback. Like-minded people who want to improve, want to get better, want to meet their goals. So yeah, and a lot of that for me came from David Goggins, and I feel like I've been able to pass that on to my friends in the mastermind group. So I don't know, if you're not in a mastermind group, definitely join one. And I guess I'll leave it there. I'll see you later.